And they're going to break a little bit here. Oh, they outbroke us. Oh. I was trying to get on the inside quarter panel and push them off. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wreckfest. That's right, we're diving into our career, and we're finally getting access to the World Masters. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's currently locked. And there's a lot of stuff here that is currently unlocked, ready for us to go. I am your host with the most, the Chronic Toast, and we're going to be taking a look at this no holds bar section of the career racing series that we're in, the World Masters. And that's right, here in this, just following in just like you normally would for banger racing at the highest top tier level as you can get out of the UK and other parts of the world. There are no rules, more or less. You can do follow ons where basically you use other cars to brake for you going into the corners, all sorts of crazy cool stuff. Now, of course, there's some interesting things here. There's a lot. Let's just keep scrolling to the right. There's a lot here that's currently locked on up, which I'm pretty excited to dive into. We're going to be taking a look briefly at the Demolition Racing Heat Race Series Haunted Destruction Dirt Devil Stadium. It's all A-class series cars, American, European, as well as Asian cars. Going to be a lot of fun. But I want to just kind of showcase what else is here. You've got, of course, Banger Racing, Heat Racing, Unlimited Racers, Hilltop Stadium Oval, Demolition Challenge, where you can eventually earn the Road Slayer GT, which is cool. A Banger Derby, which is awesome. Another Demolition Racing Series, 8 races. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of crazy stuff right there, as well as a Banger Racing Challenge, which is an all school bus racing series. So that is going to be pretty darn cool. Now we have to get to 3,600 points in order to complete this particular portion of the career. We're currently at 0, so we're going to see how well this goes and how many points we can get before we're able to move on. But first, the Demolition Racing Heat Race Haunted Destruction Dirt Devil Stadium. This is a pretty fun stadium. It's a little bit technical depending on the cars you get. And here we go for the description. Enjoy the thrill of demolition racing as best drivers crash, bang, and demolish their way to the finish line of this destruction racing series for the absolutely best oval racing drivers. So, oval racing, cool. Let's take a look at Dirt Devil Stadium. It's not really an oval as much as it is a triangle, but again, this is a heat race series, so we're going to have 3 or 4 races depending on how they have it set up. Now, currently, we're going to be taking the Boomer RS, which we unlocked earlier on in our career so far. Now, this is a fully upgraded Boomer RS rated at 329. Now, again, especially in A class, your ratings don't mean as much as they do in lower tier rated series like C class, D class, B class, things like that. There are so many cars with very interesting, unique standards and settings that everybody has a chance. 6 laps, grid size is 24, 100% gravel. It's basically a 1,000-yard racetrack, and this is a multi-heat series. Standings-wise, we're sitting here at 329. There are a few other classes of car here, like a Duraco and a 326 Bulldog, 325 Sunrise Super, which is Monk. There's a lot of good competition here, so it is something to keep in mind. Now, options-wise, normally in previous series, we've been going with realistic. We have been running into on these longer races with cars not being able to finish, so we're going to stick with intense. In our previous episode, we talked a little bit about the differences there. If you're curious about some of the differences, post in the comment section down below, and we can take a look at that. But lo and behold, let's stop, just kind of holding off on getting into the damage, into the racing, into the crazy zaniness, and let's see what we can do here in the event. I'm really, really excited to see how the Boomer RS actually fares on this track. I'm not convinced it's going to be great, but we'll see how it goes. This reminds me kind of a motocross style track with a lot of opportunities in here for monster truck action and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. So here it is. We're going to be having 3 races, a qualifier, a heat race in the middle, and then a final championship race, which is pretty darn cool. We're going to take a look here at the difficulty settings as always. Custom, automatic, half off, half an expert. Always got to make sure the AI is going to be on the hardest difficult setting possible. It makes it a little bit masochistic, but it really means even with upgrades, you can't really run away with this. You can't just kind of put the AI in the back. It's going to be important. Now, suspension-wise, we are going to try our hand at stiff. Gear ratio kind of in between standard and long, differential as well, and the brake balance near the rear. This may be an issue, but I want to make sure that our cornering and our acceleration and top speed are kind of where they need to be to make this car work and scoot. So we'll see if we can get a good rhythm going. The strength, it's not a very durable car, so we will see. Without further ado, let's get this 777 Cow Dolts Racing Supplies car squared up. Here we go. Now again, this is kind of a no holds barred, so the AI is going to be rough. We're going to be a little bit rough too, and things might not work out so well. And we have a very, very light car here with the Boomer RS, and so we are doing our best to really get this car going where it's got to be going without really getting spun out, because bad things can happen. Now, fingers crossed this works out well here. Here we go. We're just going to send it. And, oh, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. Baby, baby, baby. We got very, very lucky through those whoop-de-whoops right there. And we are basically up front, hang out here on the right-hand side. That way we can get a little bit less of that rise there, a little bit less over that hill being in action. Item to worry about. This car does like to bounce a little bit with the stiff suspension, but we are bouncing along and making it work. It's working just well. Now I'm gonna take that inside if we don't have to, just because that can be a little bit crazy. Of course, we ran into another car right there, but it's going good. It's going good. It's working out just fine. Now, Chris back there is 6 seconds back behind us, so we might have just gotten ourselves the breather room we need to make this work. So we will just have to see if we can keep this position for long enough and make this work. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, well, we're doing pretty good. We're losing a little bit of time here, but we ran into a bit of a situation, jumping into and onto and over traffic. We're coming in here. We just got to get through these sections. We should be all right. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of car carcasses here slowly piling on up. And Nyoto back there, Bahamut, is slowly catching up to us. So we just got to keep into it here. And I think we should be all right. But fingers crossed, our Boomer's doing okay. But, whoa, man. Talk about holy wads. Talk about a lot of chaos. A lot of crazy, crazy stuff going on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Some more stuff happening. We're just gonna hang on to it. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. Fingers crossed. Oh boy, there is so much catastrophe going on. Just one thing at a time here. One thing at a time. Got to get here into and across the finish line. That is the goal. As we rolling up here, I think we've got it. Nyoto Bahamut is just behind us there, not too far, but our car is, it's all right. We did it. We made it work. First place position, 33.656 for a lap. And a lot of the competition was definitely slower than us, but we weren't that far off from Sunny 66 and the TriStar getting the fastest lap. This is definitely a technical course, even with the difficulty settings that we have it on. And we qualified. We made it into the next session, which is going to be a lot of fun. So fingers crossed, we can still get ahead of the competition with where we're going. Theoretically speaking, they're going to be a little bit better in the standings, a little bit higher, but not necessarily going to be the highest rated cars. And again, the main reason for that is, well, you don't have to be the fastest as long as you're going to be the most technical AI driver. And that is something to consider. Now, we do have a little bit of advantage with our Boomer setup here, especially with the Boomer RS. We are up front. We've got some clear track. So as long as we can keep this car under control, easier said than done. We can definitely make this work. Again, we are rolling with the very, very stiff suspension, which is hard to kind of predict where it's going to go. Thankfully, the short wheelbase is very, very dependable on this car, so we can make some good educated predictions and guesses on where we're going to be at. You can see that Mark Huns back there is slowly trying to catch up to us. All we got to do is keep the hammer down, keep the rhythm section correct, play with the throttle appropriately, not get too spun around, and generally get this car headed in the right direction. And we should be all right. So fingers crossed that we will see how it goes. Jumping over Duraco. Oh, wow. That was a little bit crazy, but we're heading into lap number 3 out of 6. We'll see what happens. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves caught up in a little bit of traffic here. Not very the best situation, and there goes Markins NL slowly passing us by. They're going to be racing for position, and they spun themselves out just a little bit here. As you can see, again, this crossover here is just getting filled up with a lot of really damaged race cars that have completely DNF'd and are out of the race. And we're just going to do our best. Again, as you're coming up here on lap 5, 1.5 laps left to go. Let's see if we can get to the finish line. Fingers crossed it works out well. We just have to watch out for all this lap traffic and, of course, the whoop-de-whoops, which, if we're not careful, is not going to go very well. So we just got to do our part. Aw, yeah. Oh. Oh, no. That is not us doing our part. Not at all. Oh, boy. Come on. Throttle. There we go. The Mac God is apparently slowly catching up to us back there. Whew, here we go. Last lap. Ladies and gentlemen, come along with me for the ride as we navigate the crazy zaniness that is this track. That is a very smashed up Mini. I'm pretty sure those wheels are in the wrong spots. Now, again, the way that we have our Boomer RS set up, just to kind of get it to go through, if we don't hit these jumps in these rhythm sections just correctly, it does tend to bounce around a lot, which is potentially a setup issue on our end. But we're going to make it work. Ooh, I hope so. There we go. Whew. There it is. Not too shabby, not too bad. As we go into our final section to cross here, the finish line, and of course the Matt God back there. Not really catching up that well, but we managed to cross in first place, 31.510. That is a really fast lap. And of course, that is the fastest lap out of the entirety of all of these other cars there. We got a Panther RS behind us, which is a solid vehicle. Now we're getting ready to go into the final race here, the best of the best. We are in the finals. Now, our goal is to get first place to take the championship. This is going to be 12 laps. So I think as long as we are competent and we slow down and we really focus in on what we have to do to win, and make sure that we keep our car in one piece and we dodge all the debris that's likely going to be here between about laps 4 to 7, I think we'll be okay. We might find ourselves one of the last few cars crossing the finish line. This is a very catastrophic track, especially by the crossover. So fingers crossed, we'll see. We're starting up front, which should be all right. And I think that's going to make this a little bit easier, at least for the first few laps, as long as we can make an opportunity present itself and then just keep taking advantage of that as we go through this. There we go, big through loop-de-loops, hammering down hard a little bit. Oh, a little bit off kilter, but hey, we are making it work. That is all right. Oh, yeah. Now, here we go. Now, we are going to slow down a little bit here. It's a little bit of a safer situation to be in, rather than just sending it full send over that left path and straight over, trying to do the crossover. It'll usually work out all right for most situations. Now, again, of course, we got Euro Eagle and Shooter back there, as well as Trawl 22, trying to catch on up. But again, our goal is to really just be consistent, be smooth, and really just keep a handle of this car. And as long as we can finish, I think we'll be all right. So fingers crossed, we'll catch up here with the action in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here in lap 3. There is all sorts of chaos happening here, and we're just really trying to navigate and push cars off the road, it looks like. Really just trying to navigate this situation as best we can, all this lap traffic. Now, of course, we do have Euro Eagle right on top of us, not too far behind. So we are racing individuals for position as well as trying to get through this lap traffic, which is always going to be a little bit of a sticky situation because you never are really quite sure what some of this lap traffic is going to do. Especially in banger series style racing, individuals may not necessarily be trying to race. They might just be trying to ruin other people's races, at least for those individuals that are trying to get to the track, basically by blocking the track and putting cars out of commission. Now, for a lot of American style racing, that might be a weird situation to really kind of think through, but for the banger style racing coming out of the UK, there is a lot of individuals that take that approach, and it's perfectly accepted. It's pretty darn cool. Now, again, we have got a little bit more time back here in second place, and we're trying to work around Purple 44 here. They're a little bit all over the track. Really don't want to get caught up. Oh, we got ourselves to be very lucky there, making sure that we didn't get bounced too much there. There's Euro Eagle out into the outside wall. Oh, boy. And there's a car that didn't quite make the jump on over. Again, we are very slow through that section, but the goal is to finish all 12 laps here, and we're doing pretty good. The car hasn't taken too much damage, a little bit of superficial damage. Euro Eagle is back there. Again, we're going to watch out here for this lap traffic, go a little bit wide, hit the brakes, slide on around, and again, try to go to the outside, set ourselves up nice and straight as much as possible. We don't want to roll like the geared individual back there was. And we're gonna bounce it up there. And even if you come across the track, it's all right a little bit. Feather the throttle, feather the throttle. Here we go. Send it up and then hit the brakes. Get to the side, get it straight, and trying to come off this as straight as you possibly can, because you never really know if you're gonna get sent to the far left or if you're gonna get sent over there to the right. Now you can see here on the top left, Euro Eagle and Chal are caught up in something really, really fierce. They are falling back 15 seconds, 16 seconds, 17 seconds, pretty far back. So whatever they get caught up in is definitely going to be a concern for them. We just got to keep our eyes as we come up here and potentially get close to lapping whatever traffic they ran into to see what it was that they ran into and had an issue with. Probably through this crossover right here is my guess, is that someone somewhere got spent up, spun around, and flipped over is my guess. But we will see. Wiz Clanger is back there. Ninja Deathblade is hanging out. Chal 22 is still trying to hang out. But my guess is some individuals have met their end in this race. So we will see. And we're still dealing with lap traffic here, going over the whoop-de-whoops. And fingers crossed, we're coming up here on being probably only 5 or 6 cars on the lead lap. There's Ninja Deathblade, who we are racing for position. Now, again, really want to focus on trying to get through this lap completely intact, especially since we're on 8 out of 12, coming up on lap 9. ZOC7 right here, spinning them around a little bit, out into the outside wall, and that's perfectly A-okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get back to just making a few laps, trying to dodge some of the remaining lap traffic. There are a lot of cars that are just all wrecked up here. That's all right. That is A-okay. And one thing at a time. We'll catch up to you here in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we have caught us to some lap traffic. Here's Euro Eagle, about a lap down, almost to be about a lap down from us. Possibly, potentially 2 laps down. They're not doing so good. Looks like they've lost the right front of their car. We passing them 4th position here. They are back there in 4th, a minute plus down. Now, of course, there's a Chal and Ninja Deathblade, who we already know that Ninja Deathblade is about a lap down. So the question is, Chal is slowly trying to hang with us as much and as best as they can, especially when we're on our second to last lap here. Oh gosh, that's us running into a dead carcass of a car. We got to get around them. And a Ninja Deathblade trying to get back on the lead lap, and unfortunately, they are falling down the wayside. So the big question is, where is Chal 22? Maybe one of the cars up here that we can see, especially as we go from lap 11 into lap 12, which is our final lap. And we just got to be smooth. We just got to be clear and concise with our car inputs and dodge all the crazy zany action. That is the goal as much as possible. There's Chal right there. Finally, the last car that's going to be on the lead lap. And we don't want to get caught up in all of these shenanigans here. These cars are definitely going a few different directions. Oh, that did not work out well for them. Oh, and Chal's going down the bottom. Works all right. We are going the outside. And we're going to come up here and cross the finish line. So, ladies and gentlemen, some of these races, specifically in the higher tiers, they go on for more laps. They're a little bit longer. And, don't necessarily go full send for the first 5 or 6 laps. So really just kind of lay back, focusing on technique, your laps, hitting your points, and making sure that you can get through as clearly as possible. You can see there with 32.827 seconds, we got the fastest lap. Now, by about half of a second, considering some of the individuals here in the field. Now, that is important to note that that's not because we started in the back, that we had a complete clear track to get a good number of laps going forward, and that worked out well for us. Definitely, which is really, really exciting. But if you are not necessarily lucky enough to get here on the first place position or pole position or the first few rows, just focusing on being clear and concise and really just slowing down and just making sure you're making good, competent, complete laps. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself damaged and the race is going to be very, very long. Now, that was pretty darn cool. I'm actually pretty stoked about that. That's pretty awesome. So we're going to take a look at something a little bit different down here. We're going to take a look at the Banger Racing Challenge, the school run. Now, this is going to be intriguing because we're taking out a school bus, right? Class is C, 102 rated. Take a look at the standings here. Everyone is 102 rated. So it doesn't really matter what we got going on other than taking a look at, our damage, make sure it's intense. And, 12 laps is a large number of laps. There's going to be a little bit of chaos. And let's see what happens. So, again, our bonus goal objectives are to win by 50 meters, do 4,000 damage. So, fingers crossed, we will see. It's going to be here at nighttime, so hopefully it works out and looks okay here on screen. And difficulty, again, half off, half an expert. And tunes are disabled here for the school bus. Rev it on up, and let's see what happens. Oh, there's a lot of really cool paint jobs here. I really should get in here and really kind of change this up just a little bit. But, I mean, look at this. We are floored all the way down. Now, again, this is the World Masters. This is the top tier stuff. So we're going to use other vehicles to turn. We're going to use other people to really get in here, other drivers, other school buses to brake for us. We might need fully probably about 5 or 6 laps to get up there unless they really, really do a good job of keeping their speed up and getting out here along the track because what we're doing. Oh, man, we got a rival with Tyndall 95. Oh, boy. Oh, baby. Well, they got to catch us to make this work. The AI drivers are really getting the speed up on the outside, which makes sense. The faster line, especially for these school buses, really want to make sure they get wound up and really focus on keeping to the RPMs as high as possible. And this is sort of a racing line that you'll see on some of the different tracks, depending on the tire setup for like NASCAR, like at Michigan and stuff like that, or Darlington, focusing on the higher side of the track, just to kind of get the RPMs squared away. And that's definitely something that you can do here, especially as you get out of the lap traffic, or as you get out of the normal traffic, and we haven't quite run into lap traffic just yet. It's going to be harder and harder and harder to really get into a position to really take advantage of some of these buses. And we're diving down here real far. Whereas the vehicles on the top side are using their brakes a little bit. Radical Larry up there, thank you very so much. And so if we can catch up to these individuals, it'll be great. This time around, I don't think we quite can. So we're going to focus on taking this high line, trying to turn down as low as we possibly can. Trying to get on the inside here of Elite RC on 1. He's pulled down to the inside, High side is not clear, Here we come through turn number 1, into turn number 2. Trying to go for the win under Morpheus. Matrix is not included. And, you can just hear all those classic old style, NASCAR racing series announcers. But again, we're going to try to come down here and do the slide right up here in front of Morpheus if the back end clears. And ladies and gentlemen, it does. Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's a really cool green top on that bus back there. I'm very, very much appreciative of that. So now the question is, it's 5 out of 12 laps. We're coming up here on lap traffic in probably 2 or 3 laps. And I don't think Morpheus is going to catch us, especially with our best lap being there at 25.158. We'll see if we can't capitalize on that. But we will see in a moment. Be back soon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up here on the tail end of lap 10. Slowly catching up to our lap traffic up here. Now, I found that if we're really trying to just be very, very aggressive on apex in the corners here with these buses, we can definitely cut in on the better, more traditional lap times up there. And the main reason being, if you're taking this line up here that most of these buses are taking, you're going to cap out at 77 miles an hour, which is really where this particular bus at this particular setting is limited to. And so you're losing a little bit of RPMs on the straights. And so really we're diving in down a little bit deeper. That way we can kind of focus in here. Monk 78 up here is an individual we've seen in a few of the races. Now we are here on the last lap. We're really trying to see how many of these buses we can get in there and put them down a lap. Now, fingers crossed we can get up here and get this white bus on this last corner. With our blue bus, we will see. We're going to try to send it down as far as we can. There we go, and we're going to come up. Electrics, I just don't think we got enough horsepower for it. That's all right, but that's not too shabby. A nice, fun little challenge there. Really kind of taking a look at how can we get this bus compared to all the other vehicles and really kind of change our driving style to what we can, kind of get squared away to make this work. You can see the AI right there is really doing a good solid 26.4 seconds across the board, almost completely. Whereas our best lap was 25.015. Really, we were doing about 25.5, 25.6 for most of our laps. And it's really just kind of taking a look at what can we do and deviate from to kind of get an edge against the AI. And it really, really does pay off. It's a fun little exercise. These are sorts of events that are really, they kind of make you think. It's not just on one hand to beat the AI. Everyone's got the exact same equipment. It's really sitting there and seeing how does changing up my line, how does changing how I approach the corners really go in there and completely significantly change the results that I'm going to get here on the track. Not just for ins and outs of corners, throttles, RPMs, but really positions as well. And that's a really, really cool exercise that I really, really appreciate because it really kind of opens up your eyes a lot of times to how can you complete different aspects of these courses in different manners, which is a lot of fun. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're currently sitting at 300 of 3,600 points, but we are not yet done for today's episode. We're going to take a look here at the Demolition Racing Challenge Slaying the Road. Now, there is no guarantee that we are going to be successful in this, our first attempt around, and that's okay. We're going to try to get our hands on this Road Slayer GT. I'm really excited about this. So, fingers crossed, we will see. What does the description text state? Oh, man. Another lousy, good for nothing racer wants to challenge you in your epic skills, and this time it's the pink slips or nothing for the La Di Da Road Slayer GT. Beat the racer, and his unique ride is yours to keep. Well, that sounds all right. I mean, up there on the top right, we are called the Duke of Destruction, a level 80. Let's dive on in. What do we got going on? We have our own little Road Slayer down here. This is just the complete rat rod. I love this car. It's like a little tiny skateboard with a rocket engine attached to the back. It's a lot of fun, and it's just something you would see like on Roadkill or Mighty Car Mods. Just something that they would actually just throw together for an event, and it looks like an absolute a lot of fun. Now this is a B class car, and we're going to be going up against an A class car, so this might not work very well. We could upgrade this Road Slayer, of course, but I have some concerns. We're not going to be doing well enough to actually catch up to this thing, especially with it being an A class rated car. That's all right. It's part of the fun. It's part of the experiments. Standings are down here. Yeah, so they are 286. They're definitely not that much faster, but they will outperform us. So it is something that we do have to keep in mind. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do our best to but hopefully be successful, but probably realistically fail a little bit at this. And we'll see what happens. Here we go. Rev it up, rev it up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Not too bad on the gearing, but they definitely have a bit more power for us. And, yeah, you can just see the power just walking away. So we're going to have to do a good opportunity here. I'm just trying to be a better driver. Now, that being said, this is not my best track, as you can see here. Thankfully, we are kind of bumping and grinding and putting the car back there into the wall a little bit. But we have 6 laps to really focus in on keeping this individual behind us. And this is a really cool environment set, too. It's a little bit foggy, a little bit misty. I don't think I've quite seen this style of really just a wet feeling for this track on any other races, whether it's multiplayer or single player. And again, we are hosing up these corners, something fierce, something hard. And they're definitely back there and really gunning for us. So there we go. We're going to come in here to the inside. We're going to really kind of try to track it around if we can. Thankfully, this car does really good for really these handlings, but we have a huge corner and then a large straightaway up here. And this is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Really a lot of rear view mirror driving here. Keep this AI behind us. This is a little nerve-wracking. Onto the brakes, into the brakes. Now, this is a deceptively big corner here. You can really get yourself into a large amount of trouble. And you can see here for us is definitely something that's a concern. And they're going to brake a little bit here. Oh, they outbroke us. Oh. I was trying to get on the inside quarter panel and push them off the track and try to drive through them a little bit, and it just didn't work out that well. And ladies and gentlemen, my guess is they are probably most likely at this point going to be gone. There's nothing really to slow them down, and we don't have quite the straight line horsepower to catch up, especially on these big straights. And unless they end up crashing on their own, there's no other AI out here. It's going to be very difficult to get up here and get this car back into our stable. But we're going to give it a good solid shot. We're going to try to really thrash it through. And we'll see. I really just need to get better at this track and better at understanding a lot of the ins and outs, the break points, really some of the best lines. But unfortunately for us, we have a hardware disadvantage. Oh, and a driver disadvantage as well. Really not ideal. So I'm going to give it my best shot. We're going to see how it goes. And we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 14 seconds behind, and they just ended up winning it definitely there. Challenge failed. No surprise there. Might as well do some really epic drifts. Here we go. There it is. Their car's a little bit smashed up. That's all right. All part of the fun. But that's definitely one of the cool things about these challenges is they're definitely a challenge, especially one-on-one. There's a lot of stuff you can do just with raw upgrade power with your cars, but otherwise, sometimes you're just mismatched and you really have to have a really good strategy. Not wrecking is definitely one of those. And that being said, you can see the difference here between the 286 and the 234 versions of these cars. 120.3 versus 121.45. So basically, we're just about 1.1 seconds off the pace with our best, fastest lap. And so, with that, as long as we can keep them behind us on the straights, we should be able to complete this just fine. But it might take a few attempts. But it is what it is. We got ourselves some experience getting closer to that level 81. And that's a beautiful, beautiful car right there. We're definitely going to have to come back and try this out later. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for stopping on by, checking out our first foray into the World Masters. We definitely are going to be coming back here next series to be taking a look at the Tournament of Destruction. I have some considerations that this might be a potentially race series. We'll see kind of how this goes, or potentially 2 episode series. But I'm really, really excited to dive into the Tournament of Destruction. 800 points is a lot of points, and it's a demolition racing series, which is always a lot of fun. So join us next time as we dive on into this particular racing series. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are about this so far, what you're looking forward to as far as the yet unlocked options over here and things to race in. I'm really, really excited to check those out. Should be a lot of fun. So thank you much for stopping on by, checking this out. And as always, we'll see you next time. Aw, yeah.